Alright, anytime you hear that beat, you know it's that time for another edition of Fitness on Pensioners 106.7 FM at Barry Goniek in the city of Ibadan. Every Monday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. for 60 hours to 17 hours. In case you are not within the nation, that is when we have Fitness and of course dealing with everything about our health and how you can have a perfect healthy life, what to do and what not to do, and various advice from experts. And of course today will definitely not be would be another exciting time on the program.
I love this beat, it's crazy.
And of course, we have the usual team in the building already. I have Ambassador Kerom Lee here with me. Good afternoon, ma.
Good evening, Raymond.
Is it evening? Okay, anyhow.
How are you today?
I'm fine. How was your weekend?
It was fantastic.
Okay.
Thank God.
Okay, I also have with us an expert, a doctor who has been with us all this while, Dr. Timidayo Akinwumi, also in the building. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much, Raymond. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to our listeners at home. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Okay, another pleasure, another time to be here. So if you are there anywhere you are in the world, definitely you can just sit back and relax because it's another exciting time. On Facebook, you can watch us live, Pensioners FM live on Facebook to see everything we're doing. Or you can also go to Google Play Store to download our app, Pensioners FM, so you can have access to everything we're doing. Pensioners FM, you can tell someone to go on Google Play Store, download Pensioners FM, or you can go to our website, www.pensionersfm1067.com, www.pensionersfm1067.com, and of course, you'll be live on the show this afternoon. But before we go further, our usual tonic, every Monday tonic, which is what to do and what not to do before you jump into any exercise. Don't say, I'm feeling strong this morning. Okay, I can now start going to some of the exercise I want to go into. Madam Ambassador Omaka in the Kerom Lee, we put us through to that in a jiffy. What we should do and what not to do.
Good evening, listeners at home. It's my pleasure to be here again today. Like we do advise ourselves every Monday evening what to do and what not to do, and what we need to establish before we go into exercise. Although they say if you have this ailment, do exercise. If you have that, if you do exercise, it will be better off. But there are some things we need to put in place before we can embark on any exercise at all, because there is what we call individual differences. If you say you are looking healthy, we don't know what is wrong inside you. Maybe one of your organs or anything may be wrong, but unknown to people. But you yourself, you know that you are not feeling all right. You can't just jump into exercise that, okay, my colleague at work, when he was sick, the doctor advised him that he should go and do exercise. Oh, let me do it too. Maybe that will solve the problem. No. Before you can embark on exercise, you need to establish some things. You need to make sure that they are in place. Number one is your blood pressure. Make sure that your BP is intact, is okay. You have normal one. The same thing with the blood sugar, because in some cases they will say it's only those who are the higher proportion that they are fat that they need exercise, and once I'm just slim, I don't think I need it. You don't know what is wrong until you do the test. So if you do the blood sugar test, we'll be able to establish the fact that, okay, you are diabetics or you are not, because the result is what we need. And most of the time you want to do it is going to be fasting, meaning that you will have 8 hours fasting, at least after the dinner. Before you can eat your breakfast, you go as early as possible to do the test, so that you'll be able to know that you are not diabetic. You can go on. And the most important thing is if you want to do exercise at all, so that we will know your limitation, whether you are to carry weight or you are to stay on aerobics alone. It means we have to check your ECG. This ECG will let us know if anything is wrong with your heart, because without that, we can't give you program to do. So once we are able to get all these right, you are good to go. And again, I do tell people that put on the attire that will show that, okay, I want to do exercise. Even if ordinary layman see you, this one is doing workouts. It shows in your what you put on. Not that you put on Ankara and you wear slippers. You can even have accident with that, because by the time you are using Dunlop slippers to jump up down, it can cause another thing. So all these things, if you are able to fulfill it, then we are good to go. The essence of saying we should do exercise at least 20 to 30 minutes walk every day is for our own benefit. All what we have been discussing since all this while, we are talking about obesity, which is the grandfather of all these diseases that we have been talking about. So once you are obese, you have a lot to do. The only thing you can do, at least just to help yourself, is to take at least 20 to 30 minutes walk every day. And you try as much as possible to know your blood pressure. It's very important. I told you the other time that you can save it on your phone. It's very, very important, so that even if there is any crisis at all, we'll be able to check, okay, what is your usual blood pressure? Okay, you normally have this, but as a result of what has just happened, that's why you're having this. So we'll be able to know that fact. So it is better for us to do so.
What to do, what not to do, and what must be established before you jump into any exercise. So you just wake up one day and feel your neighbor is doing this, then you must also follow suit. It might be very dangerous, very injurious to your health. Last week we were talking.
Kò sí ìyọnu tí a bá ti fẹ́ sọ Yorùbá, ó kàn jẹ́ pé Raymond ó sanwó Yorùbá fún mi tí n bá fẹ́ ṣe àyàn ògbìfọ̀. Torí
màá sọ fún Bachelor's FM.
àyàn ògbìfọ̀ yìí ṣe lásán, kì í ṣọ̀fẹ́. Ìwọ́n fẹ́ dé o, tó bá lọ ìlú èyìnbó tó fẹ́ ṣe àyàn ògbìfọ̀, owó ló bá dé o. Ń bọ̀ ṣe àyàn ògbìfọ̀ ó sì sanwó fún mi.
Bachelor's ń gbọ́. Ọ máa yanjú ìyẹn. Ìbọn ká ti mọ̀ báyìí. Last week, I think we were talking about fibroid. Yorùbá fibroid mi mọ́.
Oyún ìju.
Okay, oyún ìju. I don't think we talked, but we couldn't really finish that. But we have another topic today that we have to jump into. And this one, oríṣiríṣi ṣáná ló wà. Ọlọ́run ṣàánú ayé. Hypertension. Hypertension. Omi kanlẹ̀.
Má mi kanlẹ̀ o.
Okay.
Torí ara mímí kanlẹ̀ yẹn náà, òun náà lè tún gbé nǹkan míì jáde.
Body tèmi kan.
So better.
We'll be looking at hypertension today, and of course, let's start. What is hypertension?
Raymond, let me take that up. When you talk about hypertension, you're referring to something that is, so how do I put it? I think Yoruba captures it best when it says in King Kong. Yeah, Ejeriru.
Ìfúnpá gíga.
I mean, mo fẹ́ try láti sọ ọ̀rọ̀. I mean, wá ọ̀rọ̀ kan tó lè underscore, tó lè sọ bí kíní ṣe wà important. You find that when we say the word hypertension, it's even for a lot of people, it's so common that even the word hypertension itself is used in reference in normal parlance.
Yes.
To talk normally as if
it has turned to English.
It has turned
simple
to
grammar.
My friend, hypertension.
I get it.
As if hypertension itself is not a disease. You know,
Exactly.
when people talk about hypertension, we talk about it so easily that it's easy for us to forget that this is a
because it's
disease.
common. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to bring out, the ambassador. That hypertension is so common. It's so common, especially in this part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen to this few facts from WHO, àjọ àgbáyé tó ń wà nípa ìlera ara,
Ìlera.
they say that hypertension, ẹ̀jẹ̀ ríru, àìsàn ẹ̀jẹ̀ ríru, is the major cause of premature death worldwide. Now, somebody dying before the age of 70 is premature.
Yeah.
Now, when you find the people dying around before, the normal time when it's expected, or when it's expected that they should pass on, one of the most important causes, or one of the most salient things that may have caused such persons dying, you find hypertension to be at the kokoro. Don't je
Ẹ̀fọ́, ara
Ara
ẹ̀fọ́ ló
ẹ̀fọ́ ló
wà.
wà.
You will even find that 1 in 4 men, let's come home now to men and women. Let's look at it that way. As of the year 2015, just 5 years ago, 1 in 4 men had hypertension.
1 in 4.
1 in 4 men.
Okay.
Just 5 years ago. That's the data for 5 years.
In
Now,
women, go?
1 in 5 women.
Okay.
So you see that the women have cheated us. We'll still define it, but I want us to get the importance of because it's become so common.
Don't you know that you men, you are giving us hypertension already?
How?
And you are now praying that we should be more than the men.
How are we giving hypertension?
You know, the stress of taking care of the family, doing this, doing that. All you need to do is just go and bring money.
Raymond, ambassador. If 1 in 4 men are having kilo fa, okay,
I want to
ambassador, we are 2 to 1. We are 2 to 1 on this. We are 2 to 1 on this. But look at it: 1 in 4 men have hypertension. 1 in 5 women have hypertension. And let's look at the whole world as it is. We have about 7 billion people all across the world.
Yeah.
Now, Raymond, let me shock you. We have about 1.13 billion out of this estimated 7 billion. 1.13 ìdá kan nínú méje gbogbo èèyàn tó wà láyé have hypertension. 1.13 billion estimated, according to WHO, have hypertension. You now find that in this 1.13 billion, 2/3 of them, they are living in countries like ours.
Effect of the economy.
Well, we'll still get there. So you find that hypertension itself is not just when we talk about it and we just use it as jokes, or we just talk as if it's the normal. It's not. It's still a disease. It's still a disease, and in fact, is the most common cause of people dying before their time. Yes. So so for any person that is listening to us today, we're talking about hypertension. You ought to listen to this. You ought to find a place to sit down and get this. It's not just malaria. It's something that kills, and it is very, very common. If you can count 4 men, four people of the same gender as yourself around you, 4 of them, 1 of you will have hypertension. If you can count 5 women, 1 of those 5 women will have hypertension. Now, let me also add. Let me add this to it. You know that according to WHO, they say that if you put 5 people together who have hypertension, 1 of them is not able to control it. He's just standing on the ledge. So quick, let me just tell us what is hypertension. I'm sure we all know. if we all ask to define what hypertension is that
at least
common?
To ordinary layman,
yes,
you need to define what hypertension is.
It's just simply elevated blood pressure. When the pressure of blood within the pipes that are carrying blood, when the pressure in there, right, is more than normal. Now, so I think 2 weeks back we talked about cardiovascular disease, and then we mentioned what the blood does. We talked about how the heart functions. Now let's look at our body as it is. I said when we make our fist, we find that that's where our heart is. All of us, we all have this heart, and this heart, right from when you were in your mama's womb, right from when you were formed, the heart is looting beat. Oda be generator ni tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ tó sì ń ṣe ni wípé ó ń pump ẹ̀jẹ̀ sí gbogbo ara. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ yìí òun ló ń gbé gbogbo ohun tí ara wa nílò láti fi lè máa gbé, láti fi lè máa survive. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ yìí ni. So heart táwa ní, ọkàn táwa ní, òun ló wá ń ti ẹ̀jẹ̀ yìí ló ń gbé lọ síbi tó yẹ kó lọ, ibi tó yẹ àwọn bó ṣe ń gbé distributor ni bó ṣe ń gbé síwájú náà ló ń gbà padà. Now, tí àti bá ti wá ń iṣẹ́ pump tó ń ṣe yìí, iṣẹ́ agbára ni. Ó wá ní iye agbára, ìmọ̀ agbára tó yẹ kó lò láti fi ti ẹ̀jẹ̀ síta, ó tún wá ní iye ìmọ̀ agbára tó tún gbọ́dọ̀ lò láti fi dá ẹ̀jẹ̀ padà wá. Tí agbára yìí tó bá ti wá ń pọ̀ ju bó ṣe yẹ kó mọ lọ, la máa ń sọ pé èèyàn ní àìsàn ẹ̀jẹ̀ ríru tí à ń pè ní hypertension. Kò jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ.
tó bá ti kọjá normal
Tó bá ti kọjá normal.
la máa ń sọ pé a ní ẹ̀jẹ̀ ríru,
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
hypertension. Now, to break that down, let's use, let me see, example that comes to my mind to be, let's assume we're having an exercise, and if we run,
Mhm.
there's a change in the heart.
Yes.
I mean, the way it pumps.
Yes.
Now, if someone has hypertension, that means, using that as an example, that's how the heart will just stay.
You're very, very correct. You're very, very correct. When we are going through stresses, àṣìṣe agbára, tàbí à ń ronú ẹnìkan, tàbí economy, rice ti di
Àlùbọ́sà
30,000.
ti di
Good.
150,000.
Ta ló má lùbọ́sà mi? When we go through these things, naturally, the normal response in our body is that everything in our body goes hyper. Now, or for a normal person, when you have now stopped thinking about tó bá ti wá rí àlùbọ́sà tó sọnù, ó yẹ kí blood pressure yẹn ó yẹ kó wá padà sí normal. Tàbí ó ti wá rí olólùfẹ́ rẹ, ó yẹ kí blood pressure yẹn tàbí pé ní wọ́n ti wá ní láti ti wá wọlé, ó yẹ kí tàbí kí la tún lè sọ náà, tàbí Raymond ti wá rí olórí, ó yẹ kí blood pressure yẹn wá bọ́ sí normal. Ṣùgbọ́n gbà tó wáyé pé kàkà kó wá bọ́ sí normal, and Raymond, I must mention this hypertension we're talking about is a silent killer. What I mean by that is, for a lot of people that have hypertension,
they don't have
they won't see, they won't even
signs.
know. They won't even know. They won't even. People could be making jokes about hypertension. People could be saying, and don't know may even just be. That is how silent hypertension itself is. Now, I keep saying that when the flow of blood, the force of flow of blood within the pipes carrying blood is blood pressure that we know, we calculate it with two major particular figures. We write it like a fraction. We write one figure on the top, we write one figure below. As ambassadors just taught us now, the one on the top, we call that the systolic. The one below is the diastolic. I mean, you don't need to worry yourself about those stuff. Just know that there are two numbers. We write one on the top, we write one below. No, that one on the top is the pressure, is the force of blood passing through the pipes carrying our blood. Now, that one below is the pressure when blood has gone already. That's the aftermath pressure within the pipes carrying blood. Now, the normal one is that you have it around 120 on the top, and then underneath you should have it around 140. 140.
100.
When someone is now though we can classify it. When someone is still going between 120 to 130, we say, okay, this person is somehow looking like mild. It's still hypertension, no, but it's mild. When someone's like, okay, 130, between 130 and this person moderate, you get it. Sorry, the person is going 140 and moving high. You see, this person is moderate. Now I have somebody going 145, 150, and going over 110 and 160, above 160 like that. We say this person is severe. But of course, once you are above 120, my brother, my sister, know that you are treading. You are working on Pako to
the value of the shadow of death. Okay, you mentioned something. 1.13 billion people have hypertension.
Most of them in this part of the world. 2/3 of that number in this part of the world.
Now, when you say 1.13, see, if you say malaria, and you say, even if you say 5 billion people have malaria, I might not
be moved
at all with malaria. That one, it be like neighbor. They sleep with a wake. But 1.1 billion people have 1.13 billion people having hypertension. It looks like, how do I put it now?
Nearly everybody.
That dangerous. I mean, I've been hearing hypertension for long, and I know how dangerous it can be. Now, 1.13 billion people having hypertension. How come we have that huge number, and how do I put it now? I'm trying to bring out what will have cost 1.13 billion people.
To have
Is
hypertension.
everybody now thinking of what
You know, I mean, it's no, Raymond, let's look at it. I mean, just March this year, we were all of us. I mean, I can say for the first time in the world, the concern
What
of the
is-
person in Japan
Yes,
is
it's
the
the
same as
same
concern
thing.
of the person in Ayetoro.
Definitely,
The worry of the person in Ajangbadi
it's the
is the
same
worry of
thing.
the person in New York.
Yes.
We all have a common problem. And let's even leave COVID. We all of us as human beings, our problems are similar. Our problems are similar. I mean, what are they? Kilamaje.
Owó iná ni.
Owó
Owó ni.
Ibo la máa gbé.
Owó ni.
Tani mo fẹ́ fẹ́.
Owó ni.
So yes, it's funny, but we all have common. I mean, we are all human beings, and we all have issues. We all have stresses. But then the fact that we have these stresses does not mean we should kill ourselves by them. So this common denominator of problems that face all of us human beings, that's the reason why you have one, at least, I mean, let's say that's 1 out of 6 persons having hypertension. And we're talking of male, female, adult, and children. No. We're not saying adults, don't forget.
We still call to that children.
As well.
Okay. Now you said you hardly seen, or let me say, no symptoms to detect if you are even, I mean, to show a sign that okay, this person is even having hypertension. Now that is where it looks, I mean, so much dangerous to me. I mean, if you have malaria, you can see we can for me, bikini can shape me. But now hypertension is that to detect the symptoms, to know 1.13 billion having hypertension, and there are no symptoms backing it.
See,
we'll see, right?
the issue is not that there are symptoms,
Okay.
right? What we're saying is that most persons with hypertension will not even show, they won't even know.
They won't know.
Because it won't show symptoms for many persons.
Oh.
For
And
many
besides,
persons.
you know, our people, if there is any little
Headache.
sign, they won't pay attention. For
Exactly.
instance, now they will be having headache. They say, okay, wọ́n lọ bá mi ra kíní alákàpọ̀ mẹ́ nítorí ìyá kíní náà tó níjó ní bó ṣe rà bó ṣe lò ara rẹ̀ sì yá máa ń ra. They will start using it. Nígbà tó bá wáyá, the thing will be out of hand. So that is where the problem is.
I'm sure if you ask Ambassador, I mean, a lot of times at the gym, people come in and I mean, you as they start literally like, ẹ̀yin dẹ̀ wá ẹ fẹ́ wá ṣe
exercise.
I'm
Some
sure
will not even know that they have high blood pressure. Not until they check. They say, when last did you check your BP? They say, it is I think about 4 years ago when I had malaria.
So you find
So they don't even know it,
Mm.
and which is very, very important. That's why we do explain to ourselves every Monday evening like this before we go into the program that it's very important. You should know your blood pressure. Very, very important. So that once you know it, something is wrong somewhere. So you'll be able to go to your doctor on time. But once we don't even know it, not the illiterate alone, literate
Even
people,
literate.
even if you ask them, they
Mm.
said, mi ò mà tiẹ̀ ní idea, mi ò mọ̀ ṣá, mi ò kí n sick ẹ̀kọ̀kan níjọ́ tí mo dẹ̀ ní malaria yẹn tí mo lọ, mo bí wọ́n léèrè wọ́n ló wà okay. What do you want them to tell you? Because the nurse will check the vital signs and we treat. And you too, you don't bother to ask, okay, is my BP okay? So that you can discuss about it. You didn't ask. So they will treat you and you go.
You go.
All they need to do, they want to establish the fact that the BP, everything, your weight, so that if they want to give you any prescription, they will know that, okay, you are capable of using this milligram or not. That is the essence of checking the weight and the BP.
The BP.
But if doctor did not need it, he won't tell you. He doesn't have time to discuss that with you. So we need to ask questions when we get to hospital at times. Okay, what's my BP? Is it normal? If it is not normal, what can I do? Am I to be on drug? And if the doctor decides to prescribe any drug for you, don't say, this drug, the wala is too much, I will discard it. Don't discard unless the doctor asks you to do so.
Ambassador, èmi ti máa ń sọ nǹkan wípé àwọn tó máa ń ní mi ò ń ṣàìsàn ó máa ń rí mi lára bákan táwọn èèyàn bá sọ̀rọ̀. Èmi máa ń sọ wípé mo máa ń dá wọn lóhùn pé ẹni tó wà nù sàárè òun ni ò ń ṣàìsàn. Òun nìkan ni ò ń ṣàìsàn. So tó bá wá ní mi ò ń ṣàìsàn ṣé mo wá yẹ kí n bí ṣé sàárè ló ń gbé ni.
Òyà ń wò pé àìsàn jẹ́ àìsàn lọ wí àkọ́tà àwọn wò ni.
Because tá bá ń bíyàn tá bá ń sọ kò sẹ́ni fẹ́ àní àfẹ́ kò ṣàìsàn rárá. what's important beyond you telling us
even at times when you discover that
you be aware
the
of your
BP
health
is on the
status.
higher side, if you try to ask them questions, okay, ṣé kìí ṣe pé ẹni nínú family Jésù tí mò ń sìn ò ní jẹ́ Orímọládé ò ní jẹ́ kò sí nínú ìran mi ó lè má sí nínú ìran bóyá torí lifestyle ní ẹni yẹn fi ní ẹni ò tiẹ̀ ní fẹ́ gbọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kò tiẹ̀ sí ẹnìkankan tó ní kinní nínú ìran wa
ẹ má fẹnu pé nǹkan tí ò dáa
pé sí ní lára o.
ọ̀sẹ̀ tá a wá yí ọ̀sẹ̀ ká máa sọ nǹkan tó dáa síra wa ni so ṣe máa bí mi ṣe mo láà ṣe máa bí mi hypertension Ọlọ́run jẹ́ rí.
torí n ta bàbá àti ìyá ò bá ní bóyá bàbá àbẹ́nìkan ti ní tí ò hàn lára àwọn parents yẹn ó lè jẹ́ pé lára ọmọ yẹn ní òtí ó máa ń rí bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ń gbà mí rárá o kò tiẹ̀ sínú ìran wa rárá Ọlọ́run jẹ́.
So we have to be aware that this thing is very, very common, and for a lot of people they would have it and they would not even know because it will not even show symptoms. You get, in fact, Ambassador, I do say this is my own personal opinion now. I mean, it's not something anybody, any regulatory body or WHO said they should do. But I say this, that for every household, it may not be for every family, but for every household, ensure you have a machine that can take blood pressure for every household. Such that you notice inform me okay ẹ jẹ́ ká pé bí bẹ́yìn ò tiẹ̀ ní fún ẹbí yín ẹ jẹ́ pé ìyá Ṣẹ́gun ọ̀ní machine tó fi ń yẹ̀ fún pawó ẹ jẹ́ ká every household, I mean I'm talking of every house should have that they call this manometer. That machine is something everybody can have. But about to say pé ó wá wọ́n o tábà gbọ́dọ̀ lọ rà ṣe ó wá jẹ́ bí fóònù ni. Let every household have it.
Importance ẹ̀ gan ju ti fóònù lọ tábà mọ̀.
Ó ju fóònù lọ because when you have it only knowledge is power.
Yes.
When you have it and you're able to check regularly ó yẹ̀wò lẹ́ni ó tún dọ̀là ó tún yẹ̀wò ó ṣàkíyèsí pé orí ń fẹ́ mi orí yẹn kí ni mo ṣe lẹ́yìn tó rí wá fọ́ mi ó yẹ̀wò because these are the symptoms that a person with severe hypertension would notice. I mean, let's mention them, Ambassador. Some will have headaches. They'll be having frequent headaches. They'll be, I mean, even whether they stress themselves. I mean, a little effort, they start noticing headaches. Some it will be blurring of vision. Some, in fact, some will just. It may be that they'll be bleeding from their noses. That's another one. Some will be having vomiting. They may be feeling nauseous. And you get it. Some they may even just
some will find it difficult
confusion.
To breathe.
And even for some people, they may even just be noticing that maybe some tightness within the chest, or maybe some pain around their chest area. So these are the things that some may have, but these people who will have these symptoms are those with the type of hypertension that we call severe. You get it? So it's not everybody that has hypertension that will even be seeing the symptoms, and that is why it is a silent killer.
That is why it is a silent killer. We're discussing hypertension, or what you know as high blood pressure. 4:33 already. Before we go further, we'll go for a quick break. And when we come back, we'll keep discussing what hypertension is. And of course, we also open the phone lines for you to ask one or two questions from my expert in the building. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned.
Pensioners FM. This is Africa's model.
Kásùn kájí kájókòó rẹpẹtẹ kalẹ̀ ojoojúmọ́ dẹ́rẹ́bà ni wọ́n máa lò sá ìgbà wo ló ṣeré ìdárayá gbẹ̀yìn ọmọ nípa ribiribi tẹ́lẹ̀ ìdárayá ń ṣe lágọ̀ọ́ ara gbogbo ẹ̀kọ́ lóògùn lílò ní gbogbo ìgbà àìbọ́kùnrin ọ̀pẹ́ rẹ lórí ìtẹ́ ọ̀pẹ́ rẹ ń gbára kùtì exercise ní Kiram Lee Gym and Fitness Center ló ń pàkíyèsí rẹ sí wípé lẹ́kalẹ́ka là yéré ìdárayá tí málàfíà bágọ̀ ara ẹni àwọn ọ̀dọ́ àtàgbàlagbà tó ń darapọ̀ níbẹ̀ wọ́n mọ̀ wípé àǹfààní àìlẹ́gbẹ́ ni wọ́n ń rí lágọ̀ọ́ ara wọn o volleyball swimming table tennis bọ́ọ̀lù ẹlẹ́yin àfọwọ́gbá lórí pátákó gbogbo eré ìdárayá wọ̀nyí ó yàtọ̀ sí pé ó ń fún ọ lálàáfíà nìkan tó bá tún yàn án ó sì àṣẹ láti ẹ ó tó rọ́wọ́ mú Keramli Gyms and Fitness Center ìrìnsẹ̀rẹ̀ ìdárayá ìgbàlódé kúnbẹ̀ dẹnu máa rẹ lè mà lọ sáré látọ̀jọ́ sí Mọ́kọ́lá ó léwu ní pọ́pọ́ ó lè sá 440 lójú kan tó sì làágùn àrùn dànù bó fẹ́ sangun di ẹ̀rìmọ́ igẹ̀ àkótágìrì irinṣẹ́ ń bẹ bọ́dà bá pọ̀jù lára alára ò ní lè dágbé mẹ́rẹ̀ ìdárayá lọ́kùnkúndùn kàn sí Keramli Gyms and Fitness Center Ọbáfẹ́mi Awólọ́wọ̀ Stadium former Liberty Stadium Offering Road Ìbàdàn telephone 003-201-4009 003-201-4009 bó ṣeré ìdárayá Keramli lọ̀rọ̀ kan.
Pensioners FM. This is Africa's model.
Welcome back from that break. And it's still fitness on Pensioners 106.7 FM. We've been discussing hypertension or high blood. And of course, we're back to continue the discussion. And don't forget, you can watch us live on Pensioners FM on Facebook. Pensioners FM live on Facebook. And go to Google Play Store, download the app, and listen to us, Pensioners FM. Pensioners FM on Google Play Store. Or you can use our website at www.pensionersfm1067.com. www.pensionersfm1067.com. Okay, let me drop the studio lines before we move to the next 111067 or 08080101067 08080101067. Like we used to say here, do not hide anything pertaining to your health. You have the expert in the building who can put you through and give you advice. Once again, 09081111067 09081111067 08080101067 08080101067. Let's continue. While we wait for people's opinion or question, you talk about 1 in 5 for men, 1 in 4 for men, 1 in 5 for women. Now let's go to that place before we go to our mokekeke. What made it more? I mean, why is it that men are susceptible to
having
hypertension
high incidence?
or can we say it because men are hustlers and all that blah blah blah.
Raymond, you've answered the question. I mean, you want to be you want to down when.
I'm just thinking I'm thinking aloud.
No, you're very correct. You're very correct.
Ìdí tó fi rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé tá bá wo àwùjọ wa yìí n tá ń dá síra wa lọ́rùn pọ̀ pàápàá jùlọ ẹ̀yin ọkùnrin.
Àwọn ọkùnrin.
Torí ìwà yìí náà ni. I don't dispute that because ṣe rí àwọn ọkùnrin wọ́n gbélé sórí mo fẹ́ kọ́ ilé owó oṣù tó ń gbà kò ká nínú ẹ̀ náà ni a ti jẹun ọmọ jẹun ìyàwó jẹun bóyè tó ń nọ́ọ̀sì ọmọ lọ wọ́n ra dáípà sì rè owó rẹ̀ gan ó lè léèyàn kó ń lù báyẹn wọ́n dá oúnjẹ foodstuff provision gbogbo yẹn wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe.
Ambassador ẹ fi lè kún Raymond ọmọ máa ń sọ wípé owó ọkọ mi owó wa ni owó tèmi owó tèmi ìyẹn náà pẹ̀lú nǹkan tó fà kọ́kùnrin máa
wọ́n rí cheat wa gan.
cheat yín o nígbà bẹ́ẹ̀ ní lára obìnrin ṣé kò pọ̀ jù báyẹn lọ.
kí ni nǹkan náà rí.
ọ̀dà ṣé ilé yín lẹ ti gbọ́ mọ wá àbí obìnrin náà.
àjẹbá ti sanwó àlẹ́ ti ṣe nọ́mà.
níjọ́ tẹ wá sanwó yẹn kí lẹ sọ fún wọn yín pé gbogbo ẹ̀ o ilé wa dùn o ọkọ ní lọ́ta I'm not digressing.
Ambassador is digressing. We're talking of hypertension táwọn nǹkan fà táwọn.
fún náà mo fẹ́ yànnà náà fún yín báyìí ní kẹ́ ẹ lè máa gbọ́. ṣé rí gbogbo lóòdù yẹn orí ọkùnrin la máa ń gbé ilé. ìdí tó lè jẹ́ kó máa ń sábà rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ní ọ̀pọ̀ ìgbà ni pé àwọn ọkùnrin míì wà tí wọn ò kì í nà tán wọn ò kì í gbé lọ́nà ọmọ náà tán torí pé kí ni owó tí wọ́n bá ń rí yẹn náà àwọn ibi tí wọ́n tún fẹ́ ná sí pọ̀ nígbà pé tó máa ti rí pé roundabout gbogbo ẹ̀ tó fẹ́ ná owó yẹn sí sharing the process ọkùnrin dẹ̀rẹ̀ ọkùnrin ní kinní kan ọkùnrin ò mo sọ́ọ̀rì láti sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn o pé àti náwó kẹ́sà make owó yẹn tó bá ti make owó yẹn dé tó bá ti rí owó báyìí bí wọ́n ṣe pín káàkiri tẹ́ má dẹ̀ ti pín káàkiri owó yẹn tún ti lọ nìyẹn distribution wọ́n good very good so tó bá ti distribute owó yẹn ó ti tán nìyẹn wọ́n tún bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí máa rákò orí ara wọn láti rí mi ìyàwó dẹ̀ tún lè máa fún wọn pressure pé àìwò ilé tàgbé yẹn landlord yẹn wàhálà yẹn ti pọ̀ jù kò ní mọ̀ pé kíní gbogbo pressure yìí ó mọ iye tó ń gbà lóṣù take things easy with him so that because tó bá ṣẹlẹ̀ tán náà ní obìnrin náà ní òfòrí fa ẹni tí ọkọ rẹ̀ bá ní stroke àbí tí hypertension bá mu tí ò lè lọ lọ́wọ́
ìyàwó tó bá da á dúró tì tí ò bá da máa lọ lé wọn.
ó dúró tì ó tẹ̀ lọ lé wọn ṣé kò tí ní ìjàmbá ti ṣẹlẹ̀ sí in the sense pé ó lọ lé wọn ṣe pé back to square one ni wọ́n bá dé nìsín wọn àgbà náà wọ́n sọ pé ìyá kíníbò láti abẹ́ ṣe báyìí àwọn ọmọ tó sì kò wá nìsán tó mẹ́rin báyìí nìsín òṣìṣẹ́ oúnjẹ ńlé bóyá ọ̀nkù rẹ̀ tẹ́ pé gbogbo àtó wà mẹ́rin máa fún lówó ìgbà náà ní mọ̀páyé pé méjì so kí ló dé wàá lè wá fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú ọkọ wa ok báyìí ni nǹkan ṣe rí o iye báyìí ni mo ní o tẹ́ bá ti nà tán iye báyìí ni mo ní o báwo lè ká ṣe ná o àpọ̀ ọgbà ló jẹ́ pé àwọn míì wà ẹ ti rí i pé ẹ ní kíní ìlara ẹlòmíì ò kì í gbà ní bóyá nínú ìran ló wà àbí ẹ ti rí i pé true lifestyle tí ẹ ń gbé ẹni kíní ìlara àwọn kankan wà ìrànlọ́wọ́ àtẹ lè ṣe tí kíní yóò fi ní máa go out of hand bí àpẹẹrẹ nísìn tí ẹlòmíì bá ki ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ báyìí tó bá ń pe mẹkáníìkì báyìí ẹ̀rọ bógun fẹ́ jà ní. ìwọ mẹkáníìkì mo ló wà ṣé ìṣe kó dé dẹrù ìyẹn mọ̀ sí báyìí yóò mọ̀ yín mú sí bí ọ̀rọ̀ pé mo wà ń bí ọ̀gá yóò mọ̀ yín mú pé kí ni délé náà ní ìpẹ́ dọ́dọ̀ yín bóyá Ṣàgámù ló wà olóhùn wà Mọ́kọ́lá nígbà báyà yóò pa fóònù kò ní ìjẹun ibi tó ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ó ti ń kó bára ẹ̀ẹ̀tì ààrẹ ìwọ mọ ẹ̀ẹ̀tì tiẹ̀ tó ń pariwo tó bá yẹ BP ẹ̀ wò nígbà náà kò lè nọ́mà.
Ambassador allow me to do this digression ó dàbí pé ó yẹ ká tún máa fa àwọn ọlọ́pàá kan special mú àwọn tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ ọwọ́ pé bóyá àwọn náà ń pẹ̀lú àwọn tó máa ń fa àìsàn hypertension tá à ń sọ yìí for example ẹ jẹ́ nǹkan ẹ má bínú o ẹni tó bá ṣe àwọn iṣẹ́ yìí
tó bá wà bẹ́ẹ̀
we are not sọ pé èèyàn burúkú ni yín o ṣùgbọ́n mechanic wọ́n ti fa hypertension fọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àwọn ò sì mọ̀.
ẹ lọ Ambassador ẹ̀yin ẹ fi kún.
títí tẹ́lọ̀ wà tó ti mẹkáníìkì.
bẹ́ẹ̀
tó ti mẹkáníìkì yẹn èmi ò bóyá kọ́kọ́ tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ ṣẹ́ wọ́n kọ́kọ́ freedom
wọ́n kọ́ kìíní yẹn mọ́ ni.
torí pé kí ni àwọn nǹkan yìí gan.
mẹkáníìkì máa tó wá gbé yìí sí.
kí wá ṣe pé torí pé kí ni pé mẹkáníìkì kan àmì ìyàwó tó máa ń parọ́. bó tó wá ṣẹlẹ̀ ni pé ẹ̀yin náà ti wá mọ̀ ẹ ti lóko olókokún kẹ tó gbìn pàṣí ìwọ sì mọ ẹ̀ ti tiẹ̀ ò wá níjó fi tiẹ̀ kó bá ọrọ̀ ajé ti tiẹ̀.
because hypertension is real.
ó mọ̀ pọ́kọ́ ọkùnrin tó látàárọ̀ tó wá owó lọ á wá wò pé ìwọ Ọlọ́run ṣé kí n ó lè bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní mọ̀ jà pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ ó lè fọ́ létí bí wà imagine tó fọ́ọ̀yàn létí ṣe mọ̀ pé mood tó wà ó ti gádà gbogbo momentum ẹni tó lè wà hypertensive ó lè trigger anything obìnrin yẹn ló yọ lẹ́nu ó sì mọ̀ pé tó bá ti dílẹ̀ náà ni ó máa di tiẹ̀ nìkan gbogbo ẹrù òun náà ni ó mọ̀ dá gbé family kan ò sí níbì kan àyàfọ́ Ọlọ́run so ló fi jẹ́ pé a nílò láti ran ara wa lọ́wọ́ ẹlòmíì ọ̀pọ̀pọ̀ wà hypertensive tí ó mọ̀ ṣe fọ́rífọ́rí ló mọ̀ ṣe fún bó bá ní ọmọ lọ báyìí ibẹ̀ ní òmùra ní ò lọ òun náà sì ní kò nígbà fọlọ́run pé òun mọ̀ ní nǹkan kan tó ń nọ́ọ̀sì kó rọra jókòó obìnrin ìfẹ́ ìyọlé ayélujára òun náà tún mọ́ bá fà á ní títí kí ní ó fi wà out of hand.
ẹlòmíì gan Ambassador ẹlòmíì gan bí ráìsì ṣe máa wọ 18,000 naira padà lá máa ronú.
ẹ ṣàpò ráìsì kan ló fẹ́ jẹ ní. àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ wà tó jẹ́ pé
Nàìjíríà ò
ṣẹ́rí lọ́wọ́ gbà tí
àlùbọ́sà
tí wọ́n
látàárọ̀ ṣúlẹ̀.
ọ̀rọ̀ àlùbọ́sà lẹ́nu mi ò mọ̀ sọ nínú ogun tí mẹ́lẹ̀
gold ni.
there are some things where you improvise.
Definitely.
tomato wọ́n jọ sí
náírà ti wọ 500.
bó ṣe pé ká mú
báwo la ṣe ìrònú ẹ̀ lámà.
bóyá ènìyàn ò rí owó tí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe ń jìrì o tó sọ pé náírà ti wọ 500. tó ń pa àwọn kan tí ò bá kàn wá ẹ jẹ́ ká mú kúrò because bí situation ṣe rí àwọn kan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lẹ́nu ọjọ́ mẹ́ta látìgbà tí kòrò ti wà ńlẹ̀ ó tó nǹkan tí èèyàn jókòó tí máa ronú bọ̀ téèyàn bá rò wàhálà ní
àwọn
oúnjẹ
nǹkan tó ń fa
ká
hypertension
gbé gbogbo kíní kúrò lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ ká gbé kúrò lọ́kàn ká gbé abá ti jílẹ̀ níwọ̀ Ọlọ́run ọ̀rọ̀ mi dọwọ́ rẹ o Ọlọ́run ó dẹ̀ ṣe ọ̀nà wa ní rere tí a bá máa ṣe báyẹn báwo la ṣe fẹ́ ṣe báyìí bá ṣe ń ṣe yẹn wọ́n ti ń ro àròkanlẹ̀ ó ti ń affect health n táwọn míì ò mọ̀ nìyẹn ló fi jẹ́ pé gbogbo tó bá ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹlòmíì wà tó yẹ pé ìyàwó ẹ̀ mọ̀ pé ó wà hypertensive bóyá ó ń ràn nínú family wọn ni nǹkan fọ́rífọ́rí ni ó mọ̀ ṣe fún yóò mọ̀ lọ tí èèyàn mọ̀ pé gbogbo ọkùnrin tún lọ báyìí tí wà káyẹ̀ òkè nígbà bá yá ìyẹn ò ní hypertension obìnrin bá dẹ̀ ti ní hypertension pọ̀ náà ni ó ń mójútó gbogbo ilé ọkùnrin yóò kàn lọ ní kò wólẹ̀ ẹni tí ó mọ̀ tó ṣàkákò gbogbo nǹkan nínú ilé tó ti hypertension kí lẹ fẹ́ energy wo ló fẹ́ fi ṣe kò ṣeé ṣe ni once the hypertension yẹn bá ti wà ń bẹ̀ oríṣiríṣi bó bá ṣe wàhálà ju wàhálà ni a nílò láti ran ara wa lọ́wọ́ ọkọ kó ràn ìyàwó lọ́wọ́ ìyàwó kó ràn ọkọ lọ́wọ́ tí gbogbo nǹkan bá wọ́n báyìí èèyàn máa pọkọ́ jókòó gan ni pé baálé wa ṣe rí gbogbo ẹ ṣe rí yóò dá lágbára Ọlọ́run ṣe rí ìtẹ́ bá lè ṣe ẹ jẹ́ ká fi gbogbo ẹ̀ sí.
àwọn ọmọ kan wà ní ayé òde òní
ẹ,
bí nǹkan ṣe rí ìgbà yẹn náà tó máa gbé nǹkan tó ga wá wọn jẹ níwò pé nǹkan rí bákan bákan.
ṣé ní sáìdì ọ̀dọ̀ ti
èmi
tiẹ̀
ò mọ
sáìdì ọ̀dọ̀ ti ṣé kó lórí ṣé gbé bíìlì wá nù nígbè wá
ní
fún ọ.
ìsọkó lè rí gbé bíìlì wá.
Raymond, oh, you can't be treating me like this.
Eh,
I need to have that Brazilian hair.
exactly because they ti jáde báyìí wọ́n ní 751 million ni.
Kò dẹ̀ wọ́n
Eh,
now, Raymond.
mo ṣe rí lọ́sàn-án
Ọ̀rẹ́ mi ń lò now. Raymond, ọ̀rẹ́ mi ń lò. Meanwhile, bàbá ronú pé, ọmọ yìí today.
ṣé mọ̀ pé wàhálà ti dé nù.
wàhálà ọkọ òǹdè ọmọ ọ̀dọ́ náà fọgbọ́n ṣe ni.
kò lẹ́sẹ̀ àbí ìpàkọ́ ẹlẹ́dẹ̀ kó ra dì gẹ́gẹ́ pẹ́pẹ́ tó bá dé nìyẹn nígbà táyé kó sì ṣe.
No, now Raymond, you know, rí mi bẹ́ẹ̀, I'm a big girl now.
mo fine gan mo fine gan.
Small girl, big girl. And they will expect him to say kò lẹ́sẹ̀, or what do you call it?
kò lẹ́sẹ̀.
Kò lẹ́sẹ̀.
akọ̀là lọ bọ́lá díẹ̀ lé. Okay, then while we were speaking, something just came. I mean, I remembered something. There's this thing called tickling. I watched a movie. The guy is hypertensive. I was just sitting gently. He wasn't thinking of anything. And because he's hypertensive, the woman just tickled him. He spring up that disease immediately. As we were speaking, I just remember, like, come on. I want to tickle you.
Maybe at this point in time we should also mention that what causes this thing and what are the things that are associated to it, like risk factors. That because for that person you mentioned, you go and look at it for a lot of time. Yes, for a lot of time, for a lot of people that have hypertension, because there's one that we call essential hypertension. For a lot of people that have this type of essential hypertension, we really can't say this is the cause.
Essential
hypertension. I mean, how do I describe this? Okay, essential. I mean, hypertension that is there and just silent there within the person. It may not be as high as going more than 140, but in a person that you find a person that's usually just around 135, or maybe.
And
just
you know the
140.
cause of such an hypertension is modern sleep. If you moderate sleep, it will just remain like 130, like that 135. This thing is a sign of hypertension.
And it's not coming down. It will just be like
change
at that level all for many years, Raymond.
Time wo lẹ wá sùn lálẹ́ àná? Wọ́n tó bí 11 mo ń wo fíìmù ni mo wo movie kan ni. Movie yẹn ló important.
Extra cool.
extra cool. I don't get this here.
So those are the things.
So when this happens, we found that a lot of times, even though we really can't say this is what's causing, but we find a lot of times this is related to the lifestyle of that person, as Ambassador described. The lifestyle, how you slept, what you ate, whether you smoke, whether you drink alcohol or not, how many wives you have, it's still part of lifestyle. Yes. How many children you have, it's still part of your lifestyle. These things are still part of your lifestyle. These things are the hypertension, hypertension. Now there's a component that our genetic mix with it too. There's a factor that our genetics contribute to it, because we found that we have more chance of having high blood pressure, which we call hypertension. You find so these genetic factors, as I call them, and lifestyle, the lifestyle of each person are the cogent things that we have found that could be behind a person developing hypertension. But now let's look at these risk factors, as I mentioned. Age. You are getting to 50. As you are getting to 50, everybody's saying hallelujah, this testimony, golden jubilee. But as you are getting to 50, you are not cutting down on some things that you used to do.
You do.
Before your mechanic calls you, you start shouting. And before you see you watch football, no, it's just you start. I mean, it's or you carry Okada ni Ibita and law you 100 naira ni rather 90 naira London 90 naira ni say
kí wá ní yàtọ̀ láàrin 90 àti 100 tí wà láwa fẹ́ ṣe.
In fact ẹ pé èèyàn mẹ́jọ lẹ pé kó tó bá yanjú ẹ in fact ó tún kọjá ó ní náírà 95 naira gan ló san ó tún gbà tó wá ní 5 naira change tó fún ẹ yẹn ó ti rún létí kò rún tán bò ó rún létí ò ní gbà
ìyẹn náà bá wá fa
ó sì ti wọ 50 ó ti kọjá 50 ẹ ti ń di bàbá àdúgbò
wá ń pariwo.
So that is there. Age is one part. We said race. Our law to do. It is common for us to have hypertension. People who take alcohol, just know that you are just collecting to hypertension.
Science you.
Then family
You
history.
smoke, or somebody in your family, a father or your mother
Yeah,
or your
Baba,
sister
yeah,
or
Igbo.
your grandmother, they've had hypertension before. Just know that even you most
Be
likely
sure.
would have hypertension if
And-
you don't take note of how you live your
Yes,
life, your
because
lifestyle.
the lifestyle will determine how early you will have it.
Exactly.
If your family are having it at the age of 50, 60, you may have your own at the age of 30. If you are careless.
Don't forget, Raymond. We mentioned that this thing we're talking about is the most common cause of premature
Death.
So if I'm doing your 40 kú, your 30 kú, your 50 kú, tí kì í ṣe pé bí wọ́n ṣe accident tàbí nǹkan jà, just go and find. If you find out fini, you'll find that most of these people passed on due to complications of hypertension.
So if there is too much sodium,
Salt. Yeah,
Salt.
yeah.
if it is too much,
Àwọn tó máa ń
then
jẹ
they
yọ.
know hypertension. Àwọn kan wọ́n yọ̀ sí ni wọ́n. Bọ́ bá ti fojú kan jẹ wọn tẹ̀ tí ní taste ẹ̀. Ṣé kí ni iyọ̀ lè dùn? Ó ti bú yọ sí gbàràrà. Wọ́n yọ̀ sí. Tí
Bàbá-
bàbá tí wọ́n yọ̀ sí oúnjẹ wọn ò lè jẹ́. Ó dẹ̀ máa tell bí èjì ò ṣe ń lọ sókè bẹ́ẹ̀ ló máa tell. Àwọn kan potassium wọn ó low in diet.
Àwọn tí wọ́n ní jẹ fruit bẹ́ẹ̀ fún wọn lọ́gẹ̀dẹ̀.
Ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ máa ń dùn jù.
Tó bá dùn jù. Ẹ jẹ ẹ̀fọ́.
Ẹ̀fọ́ yìí máa ń mú yàn ya, ó máa ń jẹ́ kéèyàn
A ní ẹ̀ tí ẹ̀ jẹ́ ewébẹ̀ rárá mi máa ń like ewédú. Bí tí mo ti ń bọ̀, we don't do that there, you know.
Okay.
Bọ́gà ni ra.
Yeah.
Ṣé gbogbo àwọn kan ló ní
Just give me donuts.
ìwọ̀ntúnwọ̀nsì tó yẹ kéèyàn máa jẹ. Òróró náà jíjẹ bó bá ti pọ̀ jù. Kò dáa kó pọ̀ jù. Gbogbo nǹkan ó yẹ kó ní ìwọ̀ntúnwọ̀nsì.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
Tí kò gbọdọ̀ má sí ohun tá à ń sọ yìí. Iyọ̀ náà kì í ṣe pé ká má fi sínú oúnjẹ rárá ṣùgbọ́n kì í ṣe pé kó wá wọ́n sí lórí bí wọ́n yọ̀ sí.
You know, tẹ́ bá fẹ́ bá mi ṣe coleslaw yẹn bá mi dín. Get tẹ́ bá tún wá fẹ́ bá mi ṣe rice yẹn náà ẹ díẹ̀. You know, ẹ̀wà yẹn mo máa ń like
ọbẹ̀ yẹn gan kan dín kó dé dídí.
Máa ń like kó mi wà nà
kó
ọbẹ̀
máa
mi.
pọ̀ lórí ọbẹ̀ yẹn
Kó máa
báyìí.
ṣe kó máa sún yìn.
Àmì kíkọ̀ wọn yẹn ní òróró lára kó máa sun.
Kó mu
You
ata
understand?
kó wá.
Mo fẹ́ kó mọ̀ pé mo lówó. Get it, Raymond.
Báwo ni wọ́n fẹ́ náwó mi nígbà
Lẹ́tà
tí mi ò
09081111067 09081111067.
lórí gbogbo ẹ̀ ní pé ká mọ̀ ṣe exercise déédéé.
Definitely going there.
Nígbà tẹ́ bá jẹ eléyìí tẹ́ jẹ tọ̀hún tẹ́ jẹ gbá tẹ́ jàwó, the best thing ni pé kéèyàn máa ṣe eré ìdárayá dáadáa. Ó kéré jù 30 minutes walk every day. Àwọn oríṣiríṣi ọ̀nà lèèyàn fi lè dẹ́kun àrùn tí à ń sọ yìí, hypertension. Ẹ rí squash gbígbá kò sí ní tẹ́ bá gbá squash under 1 hour, the squash game. Under 1 hour, you lose 750 to 800 calories.
I want to learn how to play that game.
It's very simple.
I've seen people play it very
It's
well.
very simple.
But when you talk about losing 750 to 800 calories in 1
you are
hour,
going to move. You will move with squash. When you play squash, you run for ball. You know, you don't want your opponent to defeat you. So in a situation whereby a white man was playing with a black man, and that one is counting 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, he started angry with him. What's the meaning of this? I come here to relax. I come here to recreate. What's the meaning of 3-0, 1-0? I'm not a failure. Because all dùn pé ló wá ń gbá kíní òun náà ó bá tan ara mọ́ gbà. Because it's very interesting to play a game. Then ó dẹ̀ tún ní health benefits. So why can't we do this? And there's some other games. You can do swimming as well as aerobics. The most important thing is 30 minutes walk every day. And before you embark on exercise, I do say it, see your doctor. Ẹlòmíì wà kò lè rìn láti bí sí junction Àgbárígo yẹn o kí nǹkan má ṣẹlẹ̀ o. Torí pé kí ni òun mọ ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lágọ̀ọ́ ara. Ó ní láti kọ́kọ́ ṣe gbogbo test tá a sọ yìí. Tó bá ti ṣe test, ìyẹn la máa mọ̀ pé eléyìí o lè ṣe báyìí, mọ̀ gbérin o, mọ̀ ṣe báyìí o, àmọ́ débí o, no go area eléyìí o. But if you don't do all these tests that we are talking about, how do we know? It is not written on forehead that, okay, this one is hypertensive, this one is...
this one is this one is that.
Because there are so many things that we need to find out and make sure that they are in order before you can embark on exercise. Not only on the blood pressure, the what do you call it, blood sugar as well. If it is too low, it's problem. If it is too high,
it's problem.
It's wahala. So we need to do exercise. It's very, very important. And gbogbo onímì ní fruit èmi ní kíní akàkún pé oúnjẹ olówó ni iṣẹ́ oúnjẹ olówó bẹ́ẹ̀ bó bá jẹun a máa ń rí àwọn òyìnbó tó fẹ́ jẹun lu òyìnbó báyìí lórí tébù wọn gbogbo tó yẹ kó wà mẹ́lò máa wà mẹ́ tó fi mọ́ yogurt níbi àwọn bẹ́ẹ̀ bó bá jẹun a máa ń rí àwọn òyìnbó tó fẹ́ jẹun lu òyìnbó báyìí lórí tébù wọn gbogbo tó yẹ kó wà mẹ́lò máa wà mẹ́ tó fi mọ́ yogurt níbi àwọn yóò gẹ̀ bí kíní já ẹ̀ bá àwọn gbèsè kíní báyìí tí ẹ mú ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ gbogbo nǹkan gbogbo ewé gbogbo ẹ̀ ló máa wà mẹ́ gbogbo fruit gbogbo gbá ṣùgbọ́n níbi owó tí ń fi ra dúró eléyìí.
We even have low fat diet now. We have
we
low
have
fat sugars.
yogurt, we have low fat, we have all these things. Cream one.
You can always find the one that would be
It's very
suitable
good.
for your own
But
body.
àwa máa rò pé adúrú owó tá a fi relé lè tẹ́ pé àlùbọ́sà gan la sì ń bá fà lọ́wọ́ báyìí nígbà bá wá ra gbogbo adúrú fruit eléyìí lórí tébùlù lè ń jókòó oúnjẹ kan gbogbo eléyìí báyìí nìsín tá a bá kó jọ àmọ̀ lè fi ra bíi kóńgò rẹ́sì 3 kóńgò ẹ̀wà 2 kóńgò gàrí 2 á sì ṣe ṣùkúṣùkú bá a ṣe ń ronú nìyẹn ẹ má jẹ́ ká rò bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn health is wealth nítorí ẹ bá jẹ lẹ́yìn ògbé fò and then ẹ bá dẹ̀ live healthy life ẹ̀mí rẹ̀ ó gùn dáadáa inú rẹ̀ gan mọ́ ọdún whatever the situation of the country you be able to cope with it because tó bá ti ń fúnra ẹ ní ìdùnnú òjò oúnjẹ kì í ṣe pé kéèyàn jẹ oúnjẹ ràpàtà oúnjẹ kékeré àti sọ pé oúnjẹ táwọn jẹ kò gbọdọ̀ ju sáìsì ìkúkú wa yìí lọ the size of our feast is the best tó bá ti ń jẹ jù yẹn lọ òun fún gbogbo àwọn kan rẹ gbogbo àwọn organs wà lára òun fún wọn wà láṣẹ ni ẹ jẹ́ ká jẹun níwọ̀ntúnwọ̀nsì ká dẹ̀ jẹun tó tọ́ gbogbo àwọn fruit ni o ẹ jẹ́ ká máa jẹ ká máa sọ pé ìwọ̀n rẹ̀ ó ra fruit yàrá máa mọ̀ jẹ́ ń gbà míì ẹlòmíì bẹ́ẹ̀ pé náà fẹ́ jẹ fruit bóyá bíi ẹ̀ẹ̀kan láàrin oṣù 3 tó bá kàn rántí tó má sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn sáré rà nítorí ká máa jẹ lójoojúmọ́ ni kálukú ló ní time àwọn mìíràn gan wà tó yẹ pé kì í ṣe pé oúnjẹ gan ló yẹ ká máa jẹ fruit yẹn ni ó máa jẹ jù tó yẹ pé ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan náà máa jẹ oúnjẹ kó tó di pé ilẹ̀ ṣú bóyá bíi irú àárọ̀ nísìn ó ra ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ ó jẹ níwọ̀n kì í ṣe pé kó mú gbogbo bọ́ǹchì ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ bíi 5 kó jẹ kó ní wọ́n ti ní àmọ́ ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ gbogbo nǹkan ò gbọ́dọ̀ pọ̀ jù ó mú kárọ̀tì ó jẹ bóyá bíi àná later ní tẹ́ pé ẹlòmíì èdúró tó pé kárí kíní ká jẹ gbìyànjú ni kó máa fi jẹ fruit kí ẹ̀ dẹ̀ wo situation tó bá wà health condition òun ló máa determine irú fruit tó máa jẹ ẹni tó ní diabetes ní ìsìnkú lójókòó ti ọ̀gbìn òyìnbó kó ní pineapple náà ní kó mo like rẹ̀ ó dùn dáadáa kó máa jẹ nǹkan dúdú àsálà wà ń bẹ walnut wà ń bẹ ìgbá wà ń bẹ oríṣiríṣi kọ́lọ̀ ló wà ń bẹ ẹ mọ̀ pé situation tẹ́ni yẹn wọ̀n kó wà diabetic tó máa jẹ nìyẹn ṣe pé wá ní kí ni sì ń wù mí jẹ ní tí ó pọ̀lọ́kùnrin ní ìwù ìyẹn ṣe báwọn tó bá jẹ pé ó jẹ mọ́ health tèèyàn tí ó wúlò fún lára tó náà bá dẹ̀ ti ń jẹ oníwọ̀n rí pé wọ́n máa compare pẹ̀lú arúgbó tí bá dé rí wọn age group ni wọn o ẹ̀rí tó bá ṣakáṣaká wọ́n ṣe kánmọ́kánmọ́ àwọn sì rèé àwọn tí wọn kàn sájọkọ kan náà ní ẹgbẹ́ ó járe ó ṣe pàtàkì o.
We talk about quickly our time, but we have to watch this. Children have hypertension. How come? Kí ló ń fi inú wọn rẹ̀ jọ? Kí ló fà?
Well, it's not a common finding in children, right? But then it can happen. Yes. Well, we talked about it. There's a genetic component there.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and there's a lifestyle part of it too. But of course, maybe for children, the lifestyle may not be the lifestyle component causing them to have hypertension may not be so prominent. But of course, the genetic part is there. So if they have parents who are on the radar for hypertension, that could also occur in them. And in fact, you find a lot of our kids today getting overweight, getting obese. Right, and this is one lifestyle aspect that can cause these children themselves to come down with this complaint that we're talking about. So yes, it can happen amidst any age group at all, as long as the measurements are above the normal range that it should be.
Measurement above the normal rate, hypertension, like you've listened, it's silent killer, and of course that. Disease that kills much more before even the age of 70 years. That means that the major cause of premature death among human beings, and 1.13 billion. That is to say, go to the hospital, go and check yourself. Let's go.
Because the dangers from hypertension are very many. Is it from hypertension causing stroke? I mean, that's how it happens. Is it hypertension causing stroke? Hypertension causing heart failure? Hypertension affecting organs of the body, like causing kidney failure, causing people not to have good eyesight anymore, because it affects the eyes. It affects nearly all the organs within the body, not just the heart itself.
Oluwa, we did your hand.
We really did your hand. We did your hand. Really.
We have to go now, 4:59. We have to say BY on the show today. Another wonderful time on the show. I hope someone listening to who have watched or have learned one or two things. Don't joke with your health. It's very, very important. I can like you come on.
Yòókù tún dijọ́ mẹ́jọ Raymond fún àwọn tí wọ́n ń gbọ́ wa nílé afẹ́kẹ́ ẹ mú ogun tá a ti bá yín sọ lénìí kẹ́ ẹ gbé yẹ̀wò ibi tó bá kù sí ń bẹ̀ ká ṣe àtúnṣe torí pé kí ni ẹ̀mí ò láàárọ̀ gbogbo tá a bá ń sá lọ tá à ń sábọ̀ pé a fi àkójọ bí ọrọ̀ ká ní àlàáfíà àti health gidi náà láti lò ní so gbòníjù báyìí lọ lórí ètò lénìí.
Listeners at home, please keep living healthy. Keep living healthy. I mean, these diseases or these ailments that we talk about are very, very important to you. Keep listening and living healthy.
Okay, you've heard that. That's the package. Of course, many thanks to our producer, about today, Tamia, for all who have been part of this. We say very big thank you. Next week, when we come your way, again, don't forget, health is wealth. And of course, sport is life. Always endeavor to exercise your argument to look to exercise your argument to look